get to present the award in the area of education. And while most of my energy goes into political activism and the rough and tumble world of politics, I have to admit tonight, openly come out, that my heart is in education. As a teacher, it's where my passion is on a daily basis, and so when Jan asked me to introduce and present the award to Jes, I was humbled by that, because frankly, I aspire to be someone like Jes Sellers. I originally had a long speech before he told me 2 minutes, which is also a trait of being a teacher, but Monday night I attended a vigil last evening at Case, and I saw the impact that Jes Sellers has had on countless lives. At Case they had a vigil. They've celebrated the opening of an LGBT center. They've funded it, putting your money where your mouth is. They've provided staff work, and Jes Sellers, in his decades-long contribution to the campus of Case, making it an LGBT-friendly place for staff, for community members, for students, was a big part of that. He's worked in counseling service, he's a professor there, and the magic and sometimes the frustration of being in education is you just don't know how many lives you've touched. You don't know until maybe you find out years later. But I will tell you, Jes, and you probably don't remember this, but you touched my life about 14 years ago when I was part of a small group founding the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Educators Network in Cleveland, and PFLAG had been founded about 11 years earlier by Jes, fabulous Jane Theroff, and others. And PFLAG is one of the groups that reached out to us as a closing group to tell us we can do it. And so I had the pleasure of meeting Jes and others in that process, and I was impressed. And Jes, I'm someone that you've touched that you didn't know, because here I am 15 years later, still active, still out, still proud. And so it's my honor tonight to present the award in education to someone who's dedicated themselves for decades to reaching out to students at Case, to countless students he's counseled and helped through difficult times, and I know so many more lives he will touch. The award in education to Jes Sellers.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I stand before you as sort of an accidental kind of educator. When I was growing up, I never intended, I didn't have great intentions to become an educator, a psychologist. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to be doing. I wasn't even sure as a child who I was sexually. I didn't know that I was gay. All I knew is that I was covered with freckles and I hated them. But along the way, after I began to realize that freckles weren't so bad after all, if I could come to accept those and probably go on with my life. And indeed, I recall that my mother employed the gift of poetry from a neighbor who wrote a poem entitled "The Boy Next Door with Freckles." That alone, that act of love, and that poem led me, I think, to be able to be accepting of myself as a gay man. Grateful for that experience. When I sit with a student who's struggling, whether or not with sexual identity or depression or anxiety, in my work as a psychologist at Case Western Reserve University, I am humbled to hear the personal story and the tragedy and the difficulty that some of our students go through, our young adults. And we know that all too well from the past few weeks of young people dying from bullying and violence against LGBT youth. It wasn't but a couple of weeks ago that I also attended the suicide prevention walk at the Cleveland Zoo, and we know too that LGBT young adults are 4 times more likely to take their own lives. It all comes back around, I think, to this perception, if we can promote it everywhere we go, that we do love and accept our children for who they are, even if they don't know who they are at the time. We give them a sense of purpose, we lift them up, we praise them, we give them good information and guidance along the way, and we encourage them to be all they can possibly be. That has become love my work. I'm grateful every day for Case West Reserve and for P-Flag Cleveland. And P-Flag Cleveland is a love of my life that I've been doing for 25 years. I see how many of you out there have actually attended a P-Flag meeting or football games. This is a remarkable group, and I don't say it enough, but I have been changed by P-Flag for the better. And I want to thank all of you who have been to one of our group meetings. In conclusion, I recall a statement that was once made in an interview with Robert Frost. He was asked by a reporter, what is the worst word in the dictionary? And he didn't hesitate to say the word exclusion. And when asked, what's the most beautiful word in the dictionary? He said, inclusion. All of our work that we do in our community is to get people to find the beauty in the word inclusion. And I thank you tonight for this work.